Good evening and welcome to Crosstalk, the program where we bring Jesus to the center of every conversation, both in the church and in the society. And today we have an interesting topic. We want to talk about finances, money. What do you do with your money? Sometimes there is too much month left at the end of the money, and sometimes we get into debt. And by the way, the finance bill is now legal. It can now, you're going to be taxed. That means there may be less money to be spent. How do we survive? How do we do our things? Today on set, very interesting fellows here. Christopher Nyalwal, finance expert. Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we have Reverend John Mark Oduor, the Director of Missions in the Anglican Church of Kenya in the National Office. Karibu, John Mark.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
This thing about finances, Christopher.
Yes.
Tell us, you work with money all the time.
Yeah.
What is money? Let's begin with that. Let's not assume we understand.
Let's assume we understand it, huh?
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that money is simply a resource. Mm-hmm. It's something that we use to sustain our lives, something we use to get us to our goals. And it's something that we should not possess it in itself, but have it as a resource that we use.
Possess it.
Yes.
Is there a time money possesses us? And
it does.
It runs us around.
Because ideally, when you ask yourself, what is possession? Possession is something owning you. And if you say you own something, it means you're in control over it, right? But you find there are situations where people are not in control of their money. Your money is dictating your lifestyle. Your money is dictating what you do, what you can and what you can't afford. It's dictating your decisions. When in essence, it should be you controlling your money, telling it where to go instead of wondering where it went.
That's interesting. You said interesting.
Yes.
John Mark, what is money? What comes to your mind?
Money is a means to an end. It's not the thing in itself. It's a means to an end. It's a resource, like he has said, to get to what you want to achieve and what you want to possess and what you want to ultimately become. Because a lot of times a mistake we make is when money is the end in itself, we pursue it, and the more we pursue it, the more we get lost in looking for it. To the point that there are people, and I'm sure you know that from Psalm, the psalmist says that he gives sleep to those he loves. But you can wake up very early in the morning and you sleep very late at night.
And lack sleep.
Yeah, and yes. And you keep running, looking for it. So if you ask someone, what is the color of money? It's like, I don't know, but even the richest guy, Elon Musk, is still working. The guy sleeps 3 hours. Bill Gates still works. So you're wondering, the guy has so much money, he can buy this country and get change, but still is working. And some of us, there are guys who, they have the little, they are content, and they still have enough sleep, and they're healthy. So money, for me, is a resource. It's a means to an end, and it's something you use to get to what you actually want to become and what you are looking for in life.
Good financial habits, good money manners. Chris, what are those?
Okay, good habits come up with a number of things, all right? Habits start with the way you think, all right? It's not only how you act or behave, it all starts with how you think. So if you think in a structured way, you think in a way that you're thinking long-term, you're not always thinking about what is here and now.
Help us think.
All right.
Because most of us are salary at the end of the month, pay bills, then spend the rest,
All right.
So help us think.
So one bad habit that many of us have is relying on the fact that money will always come at the end of the month, all right? We have that habit in our minds. We've set it in our minds that salary will come at the end of the month. And this is not a good thing. And we saw it at COVID time, when everything stopped. And there was no money coming in. Businesses were shut. We were closed in our houses for almost a year plus, right? So just thinking that you need to get other sources of income to supplement your income through passive income, active income, other ways that you can use.
Yeah, you're using interesting terms.
Yes,
we'll come to you to explain anyway.
We will get into them into more detail.
Yes.
But generally, good habits is being in control of your money, using tools such as budgets to assist you plan for your money, because you need to be the one deciding where your money is going and not spending, mindless spending, and then you wonder where did it go at the end of the month. So a good habit is just first being aware that you need to have good intentions for yourself, you need to have goals for yourself, and then now, how do you action these goals in terms of your resources that you have? Yeah.
Good habits, John Marco.
Let me start with the bad habits.
Okay, fine. Take us there.
Yes. Bad habits is, like he said, believing that money is everything. It is not. It's not because you can have all the money you want and you can never think of having, but still you're not stable, you're not comfortable, you still are your life is basically a roller coaster of activities. So thinking that money is everything is a bad habit. Number two, making money the end and not the means too is a bad habit. Because then it means it is what you pursue and it's what you keep running after. And once you make it the purpose for which you're alive, then the truth is this, it's going to mislead you. And it's going, and because you will never get it. You can have money in the bank, but that does not make you, let me use the word wealthy. Okay? You're just rich, but not wealthy. Because wealth includes more things than just money. Culture is wealth. You can have a way, the way you raise your family. Some of our traditional families, you'd find that somebody did not have cash, but the family was comfortable and fine. So having money does not necessarily make you wealthy. Another bad habit for me, I think, is the way people think that money is the key to everything in terms of relationships. That if I have money, then Tom will become my friend. Or because I have money, then I don't trust people who don't have money. So my money becomes the reason I relate with people, you know, which for me is a bad habit. Now, good habits now is seeing money as a resource to achieve many good things, including building other people. There are people who have a lot of money, but if you are in need, they would not even, because for them, money is the reason you are looking for them. So money then becomes the reason they keep the distance. But so if you have a good habit, it means what you have is a means to do certain things, which includes enhancing relationship, transforming the community, and changing people's lives for the better. But the other thing which I think is good, he's talked about things like budget, he talks about things like planning, which for me are good habits. The problem sometimes is some people plan to the point that, and I know I've been taught many times, plan so that you don't have money that is not taken care of. The problem is that in Africa, our relationships or our operations are based on relationships. You might have budget. I have 100,000 shillings or I have 50,000 shillings. This is what I'm going to spend this, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then suddenly, your cousin has died. It wasn't in the budget to do fundraising for the funeral. It's like, by the way, that's not in my budget. So I ain't touching that money now. If you want to die next time, tell me in advance so that I plan for it. You know, and that sometimes can be a problem. But good habits include planning, good habits include forecasting, like during COVID when people did not have income coming in, you have money to be able to spend during the bad days, because if you don't plan and save, you basically are in trouble when the bad times come. Because today you can wake up and you get a letter being told your job has been terminated. If you hadn't been saving, which is a good habit, then you find yourself in a situation where it's like, okay, what do I do? Another thing which I think for me is a good habit is based on Ecclesiastes, which talks about we need to be able to have multiple sources of income, not one. Actually, Ecclesiastes talks about it and it says you should have at least 7 or 8 sources of income, which means salary is good. But what else? I need to have more, yes.
You'll take us into that. You want to jump into that?
I just want to add on to what he said. For example, the aspect of pursuing money as an end in itself. I think we need to acknowledge that who is the owner of everything we have? It comes from God, right? And that means there's a God-given purpose for each one of us. And you've been given a resource to achieve that purpose, all right? So with that purpose, it means you're not just put on this earth to pay bills and survive till the end of the month. There's a specific purpose that you're meant to pursue, and that says, and as he has mentioned, capacity building even others, lifting others up. These programs that we start to build our youth, our children, the donors that come in, if they didn't have good management of their resources, we would not be having these programs that we're having in, lucky to have in Kenya or Africa right now. So being able to look for that purpose that you've been put here on earth, and then those resources will help you achieve that purpose.
We are now being heavily taxed.
Yes.
Talk to the average Kenyan, you know, budgeting.
Yes.
The money is tight. should we be worried? Can we survive? So give us basic tips of how to use the money that has now diminished.
All right.
For a household, a common household.
It starts with your mindset. There's something we call a scarcity mindset, and there's something called an abundance mindset, right? Now, if you are in a scarcity mindset, which is the bad side of things, scarcity mindset looks at, you focus on what you lack. You're always looking at, you have something here, but you're always asking yourself, if only I had this, if only I had another 10,000, if only I had another 20,000. You end up missing the whole point. And then now, the other side is abundance. Now, abundance is starting with a gratitude mentality. At least I still have my job. They've added taxes, but I still have a source of income, all right? You still have your source of income. You're still healthy. You still have a sound mind that you can use to now look, how can I generate other sources of income, all right? Getting other sources of income could be using something that, using a talent that you have. You could be having active income, which is from employment, but you could do something on the side that you love to do. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's teaching children how to play an instrument or something.
So but diversify your sources of income. Create more portfolios.
Investing in things. We've had the bonds and bills. We have money market funds. We have other investments out there that we can put our money in to give us returns.
But suppose I'm still stuck with that active income called salary.
All right.
How do I use it?
So with your salary, let's start here. You need to evaluate your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Say you're earning 100,000 shillings or 50,000 shillings. Ask yourself, how much money are you paying in terms of rent? What percentage is it of your overall income? If it's more than, I would say, 25%, then you are clearly living a bit high, on the higher side of life, all right? Ask yourself, what are my needs and versus wants, all right? There's some things that we put on ourselves that we don't really need at this point in time, all right? There's some things that are necessities. You have your food, you have your utilities, transport and housing. You need to cater for those first. And then you also need to ensure that there's a small amount that you're saving. No matter how small of income that you get, you must put aside some small amount that then now will start working and building it towards growing it. Because you can start investing with as little as 1,000 shillings, all right? Do that for a whole year. The next year, you'll be starting from, say, 10,000 shillings and not from zero.
Where do we find these money markets?
So money markets, these are available from various mutual funds, companies that offer these services. We have many of them, I don't want to mention them, but that they do offer us these money markets.
So and you just need to go to Google and search money markets.
Yes, money markets in Kenya, there's so many providers who offer them. Insurance companies offer them, and investment companies offer them for you. You open an account, some with as little as even 100 shillings. You can open an account, and you simply start depositing money there. What happens is there's something called compound growth, all right? This is when you take advantage of time. When you put in money every so often that you can afford to put in money into that account, it earns you interest. And provided you don't withdraw this interest, because sometimes we get lost in making some small money and you withdraw it immediately. If you leave it there and you say, this is for a goal that I have maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, and you never touch that money, it will keep growing and growing and growing for you. Yes.
John Mark, talk to our households. What do we do with the little money?
Budgeting. But let me give you a scenario of how budgeting transforms a family. And I'll give you, let me give myself as an example.
Okay.
If we have a budget with my wife that with my current salary, we spend 10,000 to manage the family budget. We'll do the shopping. My wife will be able to run our family budget with 10,000 if that's all the income that we have for the house. But it's,
how?
I mean, take for example, today I might prefer to be using Colgate instead of Aquafresh or another toothpaste. I might be using bar soap instead of using liquid soap. Are you getting it? Or a gel, or a shower gel. I can be choosing to use instant heater or boiling water. You get the difference. But then suddenly the Lord blesses me and I have a 200,000 coming into my on a monthly. The same household will comfortably run on 100,000 budget without our lives changing. Because I've just realized that now instead of using bar soap, we're using special different. So the same house, we used to buy meat and we could negotiate with the butcher to get 1 kg at maybe 500 shillings. But now we want steak, which now we have to buy from a supermarket at 1,500. Same meat, same 4 people, eating the same thing. Suddenly our lives has just changed. Now I could be using the smallest car with the minimum fuel to the office, but then the Lord now has blessed me. I'm driving a Gazela that if you just need to ngurumisha,
and 500 is gone.
you get it?
Yes,
and so suddenly you realize that same family, just different budgeting patterns. So for me, one of the key things I think as a good habit is that we should learn to budget. And then you tailor your house and your money according to what your income is. Because there are people who, you may have been earning $500,000 sometimes back. Now there's no income. Total you are making is about 100,000. But you still want to live like the $500,000 guy. You still want to drive the big car. You still want to pay rent of an equivalent of almost the whole salary. I tell people that the best thing you can be able to do, nobody will laugh at you that you moved from a house that was 100,000 to a house that is 20,000. They may ask, oh, you changed. They said, well, yeah, economy in Mbaya. They tell them, yeah, by the way, we understand. After all, it is you whose shoes is pinching. Because to some people, there are guys who live in this country and 3/4 of the month, they are in New York, they are in London, they are in Cape Town. But you, which streets do you walk in? You are in Du Bois. You are in Du Bois and you are in Lutuli. And life continues. And when you want to do your own shopping, you go to Gikomba and get the suit and you come back home and you're looking sharp.
The quality of life is the same.
Exactly.
I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
What is happening is we are living a social media lifestyle. We're in a social media era where I want to show I'm doing the traveling in destinations.
To look the part.
I want to look the part. I want to have the latest iPhone when it's out. I want to be seen to be living the life. Yet when the camera is off, you're in serious debt.
Yes.
You're in serious debt. And that's something we need to realize, that you can't live for others. No. You have your life.
Don't impress people.
Live your life.
Don't live for the gallery.
So keeping up with the Joneses.
A good point to take a break. Viewers, we are talking money. And even though it has become scarce, it's becoming clear that a mindset shift would help a great deal. We are continuing with this conversation. We take a break. Don't go away.
Next week on Man Up.
Women have been empowered, and then we have trivialized the place of the man.
Then the solution is to work on the man. You don't treat symptoms and signs. Okay.
We need people to educate them, to explain to them, to demonstrate to them, and teach them what positive masculinity is all about. What is required of a man? What do we define you as a man? Not only the God-given rulership and leadership, there is more.
If you don't sort out the boy, then when they grow up, they become some of the men who destabilize the society with all sorts of evil.
That's next week on Man Up, Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back to Crosstalk, and today we are talking matters money. Has it become scarce? Have things become tough? Yes. But can we surmount this? That's what we are finding out today. Chris, when we went to the break and John Mark, we were talking about don't live for the gallery. I want to pick up some things. Bad financial habits. What are the red flags? Let's talk debt. Let's talk bad debt, good debt. Let's talk investment. What are those things that will help us gain financial freedom?
All right.
Let's take.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things is you need to ensure that you're living well within or even below your means, all right? And by doing this, it means you've evaluated your income and you know exactly how much you need and how much you have to save and invest as well. What happens is that we tend to spend without considering how much we make, all right? So we then go into these mobile apps that are offering us loans at very cheap I would say cheap in quotes, because the loan has a lot of interest that you keep paying. In fact, for others, it's become even their second source of income. Yeah, because you're like, I'll get my income, I'll pay off last month's debt, and get in a fresh amount for this month. So be aware of those bad debts, all right? Those are debts for consumption, which are never good for you. A good debt is something that builds you in terms of your future, builds your wealth or your education and your ability to make more wealth in future. So that is a good debt. Things like living beyond your means involves things like spending without any list. For example, a simple thing as John Mark mentioned, going for shopping, all right? How many of us go with a shopping list? Very few of us. In fact, us men usually are known to we can buy from memory, right? But you end up finding yourself, if you had a budget for shopping of say 10,000, you enter the supermarket. First, you find yourself in aisles you should not be finding yourself in, because there are all these attractive things and sales and signs there that are attracting you. So you end up leaving the supermarket having spent 15 or even 17,000.
Yes.
Yet the things you were sent to buy, you didn't buy them. All right. So this thing for not really planning for our money is really essential. Yeah.
Draw us the pie chart, John Mark. Percentages and things. I have this income.
Okay, I think as priority, talking about the basic needs, you live in a house, you must pay rent. Because there are people who will say, I've been working but I've defaulted on rent. And they have a family, wife, children, and have defaulted on rent. You can't do that. So if that is not part of your priority in spending your money, you shouldn't even be there. Pack up, go to the village where you don't have to pay rent. Number 2, food. Now, and when it comes to even food, you need to ask yourself, what kind of priority when it comes to food? The Mama Mboga in Kibera knows how to budget with 100 bob. And it is still a well-balanced nutritional food. They will tell you, I do ugali, and I do skuma, and I do an egg. And that could be their routine. Or they do githeri. That could be there. Some of us want to eat meat every day. I want to eat fish. I want to eat steak. I want to eat chicken. And my budget for food supersedes half my budget for salary. So that is a crucial thing I must make sure. Now, I have children who must go to school. I cannot say, the schools are opening next week, by the way. I need to look for school fees. You knew it was not an accident.
No, it wasn't
an accident. So you better plan to make sure that school fees and all those things that pertain to anything in terms of development are there, including me developing myself for future. I need to go back to school. So I don't wait when the term comes in, is like, I need a loan. I'm going to Tala. I'm going to all of this mobile money to look for it. Another thing that I think is crucial, of course, if I'm working, I must go to work. There are people who come in and say, I think I call in sick. I don't have fare to go to work. Now, if part of your budget is not going to work, then you'll get fired and you will not have a budget. Now, sometimes I know, I met this lady who says, I stay about 5 kilometers away from my place of work. So what I decided to do, I will be walking. And she realized she's saving 15,000 shillings from walking. And do you know what else she's saving? Money to go to the gym. And do you know what else she's saving? Medical bills. Do you know what else she's saving? She's actually buying new shoes.
With just one action.
One action. So that basically means you think strategic. And in the process of thinking strategic, you actually begin to realize the ripple effect of every single thing you do. Because like if you budget, you change your budget for food by properly budgeting your menu. Like I tell people that in my house, we have a menu that I can tell you what is going to be eaten tomorrow. Why? Because we sat down as husband and wife and drew a menu for the whole week. And that's what we do every day. So my wife just knows, this is what I'm going to buy. I'm not going to buy anything else. We have this. So if we become creative.
Discipline.
Yes. Discipline. It's a discipline.
Gentlemen, when do you know your money is possessing you? When do you know your money is on the driving seat? What are the indicators? How do you know money is in control and you're no longer in control?
When it is the only thing you think about.
Obsession.
Or you are obsessed. And the worst part, the panicking obsession. When I talk about the panicking obsession is that, oh my God, I don't have it, I must get it, so I need to think of how to get it. So either I'm looking for someone to loan from, or how to, there's a point where somebody even think of who to con to make sure I get some money. And you're thinking of, I only have this amount. I have friends. I have this friend of mine who basically believes that, he says, I must have 100,000 in my pocket at any given time.
In my pocket?
In my pocket. Okay. It's afloat, but I don't spend it. I don't spend it. Just the feeling that I have 100K in my pocket, man, that makes me feel good. Now, so I asked him, what happens if you don't? Then he said, I am in a panic mode.
Gentlemen, tell us what financial freedom is. What is financial freedom? What is financial independence? Chris, and then John Mark, as we bring this to a close. Yes.
When you think of financial independence, it's a stage in life when you're able to amass passive income that is able to sustain.
What is passive income and what is active income?
All right. We were to get to that, we didn't get to it. So what is active income? Active income is you working for your money, all right? You're working for your money at employment, or even if you're self-employed, that is active income. You are working for your money, because the day you sleep, money is not coming in. So that is active income. Or the day you quit your job, money is not coming in. So that is active income. Passive income is where now your money now is working for you, all right? You can be sleeping and your money is still generating returns for you. It's growing wherever you have put it. So that is active and passive income. So now we're looking at financial independence is a stage where the passive income is able to sustain your living expenses to the point where you don't have to work going forward for you to live your life. So you have that independence where you have that active, passive income coming in, sustaining your life for the rest of your life. And then ultimately financial freedom is when now you can even do much more than just sustaining your living expenses. You can do whatever you want, travel at any point in time, start any, giving back to the community, capacity building, talk to people. That is ultimate financial freedom. Yeah.
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom for me, I think, is also just, let me start with a simple way of defining active and passive income. Active is you act to income. You have to go and work for it to come. But passive, passive is it works for you. It comes in even if you do nothing. You're passive, you don't do anything, but it keeps coming. So it's an income that comes when you're doing nothing because you already had put an investment in it. Now, freedom for me, it reaches the point where you've raised enough resource. You can actually do things with it that you passionately love doing. You can be a philanthropist. You go in, donate money to a school to build a hall. You can do this. And it's not money you're working for. It just keeps coming. You've reached a point where the money now and you are not related. Let me put it, they're not related. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. What you do is actually spend it. You've reached that point where now you can spend that money and still feel nothing. They're the type of people who can write you a check of $1 million and there's no depression in the account. They actually don't know. They know that I have money, I can write a check of $1 million and still don't feel like, did I spend anything? No. That is why you hear, you go to some of these universities and you find a building with someone's name on it and you're wondering, what did he do? He just donated that. And how much was that? 100 million? It's like, 100 million, a guy donated? Yeah. And the guy is still in the business and he's not feeling anything. And it is not one university, it's not two, it's not three. So that is now financial freedom. But financial independence, just like he said, you reach a point where your income actually sustains you beyond your normal life. The key secret is you need to reach a point where your life and your money are not related. It is you spending it, not you working for it.
You are not thinking about
no,
money
you don't
anymore.
have to think about do I have how much do I have in the account? No.
Or do I have leave days?
Yes, do I need to go? Do I need to go?
Can I retire?
If I don't go to work, will I have an income? Someone said, this is the funniest joke, someone said there are kinds of cars, I think they say of Rolls-Royce, that if you ask how much it costs, then you can't afford it. So if you ask how much I spend, then it means you're still worried about money.
You're not free.
You're not free. Really. You're not free. Yeah. So these are the kind of people that now can spend money without worrying about how much is remaining in the account.
Wow.
Yes.
Gentlemen, you have done justice to this. Chris Nyalwal, financial expert. Thank you very, very much for coming onto this show.
Thank you.
Reverend
for
John
having me.
Makoduol, Anglican Church of Kenya, Director of Missions.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Yes.
It's been real.
Yes, it is.
Viewers, we have had plenty of good financial advice. And my prayer for you is that even during this very, very difficult season in our country, you will not be caught up in the melee of being in a financial ditch. You can actually be free. You can actually even make money and more money during this difficult time. May God help you, and may God help all of us, and may God be gracious to you. This has been Crosstalk, where we bring Jesus to the airwaves and we put the cross in the middle of the conversation. Till next week, God bless you.